Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Gerald Christopher Marcus Porter.
And today we are joined by the intern's sister. Jerry, you brought your sister along.
For once.
Christy Porter joins us.
Hi, Christy.
Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. It was nice of you to join us.
Truly.
And Jerry keeps saying that you're the true Raiders of the Lost Ark fan, so that's why we're having you on the show.
Well, it's true. I am the true Raiders of the Lost Ark fan. That wouldn't be the older sister. That wouldn't be Jer. So I guess that leaves me. Yeah.
Yeah. There you
Pretty
go.
much.
Dead in the middle.
Yeah.
Middle's
In
always
so many ways.
Well, we're glad you're here, and you're going to add a lot to our conversation, I'm sure. And today,
I'm sure.
Today we are discussing Minute 21, and Minute 21 begins with the Army intelligence men beginning to understand, and it ends with Marcus making a big assumption about where the Ark will end up. And my first question for you guys is, why is he okay, Porkins says, I'm beginning to understand Hitler's interest in this. And he's got this tone in his voice like, oh yeah, maybe we should get an Ark of the Covenant for our team. But is he thinking like, oh, that'd be great because we could use that and put it in front of our armies and they'll be invincible and they'll mow down all of our enemies. And it's going to be, or are they just like trying to spite Hitler? Like, we got the cool thing you wanted and you don't get to have it. Like, why exactly do they want Indy to go after this?
Well, Marcus says this, like, this is the backbone of the movie. I mean, he says, an army which carries the Ark before it, and then, pregnant pause, is invincible.
Which
Right.
is complete nonsense, by the way.
You think?
That's exactly what I was
Even the Israelite army was defeated while carrying the Ark before it.
Well, not just once, but like several times.
Yeah.
Like over and over again. So you would think that maybe Hitler would not want to carry the Ark.
Everybody thinks
right?
they're going to be the ones to do it right.
That's true.
If only I had the Ark, I
Right.
would know how to use it. But, I was thinking about this. Maybe this is, the FBI guys are like, we've come, we've certainly found the right men. And like, maybe Hitler didn't do his research that well or got the wrong guys. He didn't really bone up on the Sunday school stuff as they talk about.
Yeah.
Because, if Shishak takes it, his town gets destroyed. So that would be like, Berlin wiped away by the wrath of God. So you wonder...
In a sandstorm?
In a sandstorm. Hey, it is God. I mean, he can get biblical.
It's funny, though, because the only armies, I think, that are referenced in the Bible as taking the Ark end up being destroyed. Like the Philistines stole the Ark, and then it caused a plague amongst all the Philistines, and they put the Ark on a cart, like led by a couple of cows, and the cows just walked back to the Israelites with the Ark.
That was loyal of them.
Yeah.
Those are some darn good cows right there.
It sounds
Homing
like
cows.
It sounds like Hitler and the United States government just want to be part of a big fable where pride goeth before a fall and people don't learn from their mistakes and all that stuff.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the Hebrews got their ass handed to them, as well as my sister said, frequently. I'm sorry, Pete. Every time I hear Philistine, I go right to jawbone of an ass. That's like, it's just like I can't even. It's like, jawbone of an ass.
You're giggling en masse because the priest said ass.
Yep.
I have a question for everybody.
Yeah.
When Brody says that line, when he says an army which carries the ark before it is invincible, he says it in such a theatrical way, and he turns to Indy, and he gives him just a weird look, and Indy kind of rolls his eyes and turns away. Is Brody intentionally lying to kind of pump this up and make the government guys want to go after it? Like, does he know what he's saying is wrong, is untrue?
Well, it's funny because in one of last week's minutes, he was clearly kind of building that up and goofing on the Army intelligence guys, being like, wiped clean by the wrath of God. Like, he was clearly playing it up to mess with them because he could see they weren't into it. But this time, I don't think he is. I think I think he kind of really...
You think he just doesn't know?
I think he doesn't... Yeah, I think that for him, there's like a sincere mystery around the Ark, and he doesn't... he's suddenly thinking like, oh... What if this is a real thing? What if Indy finds this thing and now I got to start worrying about whether or not the Ark is a real power?
Well, I mean, I don't think. I mean, you guys have both been talking about that, saying that he's just sort of goofing it up and that sort of thing. But I don't think he is. I think it's a little bit character development where you're like, because Indy's always dismissing anytime there's a supernatural or a religious component, etc., which I think we get to in the next minute or so.
Mm-hmm.
And Brody's always hinting at, he's like, he keeps himself like, he keeps one foot over there like, it's possible. We don't really know the power that some of these things, can wield in the wrong hands.
I think this is a power grab. I think that Marcus is he's used to directing all the characters. He's clearly outranks Indy in a couple of different ways. He might be head of the department. He's got some consolidated power in the museum. We don't really know how. And I think that, a professor guy has to look lean and hungry. And that doesn't really play well with the chair of the department too much. That's what I think. So he's like, on the one hand, I think maybe this is scary and you shouldn't do it. On the other hand, maybe you should go after it. Maybe get, wiped clean by the wrath of God or something. And you got to impress the FBI guys who are probably funding you anyway. They're not FBI, they're really government, but they're funding you.
Yeah.
But, only on your terms. Yeah.
Right.
I'm with Christy on this, but I think Marcus I think it's a giant snow job. Because almost every assertion he makes about the Ark is completely false.
Yeah, but I don't know. He seems so sincere, and he's not like playing to those guys when he says that. And then later on, not to jump ahead, but he's just, it's him and Indy alone, and he kind of waxes spooky again about the Ark. I don't know.
I think it sort of exactly that. It draws there's a dichotomy or whatever. It's like, no, this thing there's an ominous component to this, or at least there may be, and this guy's taking it seriously, and this other guy over here, I mean, he's acting like, well, I'll just waltz into the Jovito's temple and see what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more of the character. It's strange. It's like he's the archaeologist and all that. He's very smart and all that, but he doesn't always have I don't know. We're saying he's a two-bit archaeologist. He sometimes doesn't show respect for when respect is due, especially when he's, throwing these idols.
He can't afford respect. He can't afford respect. He's got it. He needs a grant. He needs to keep his job. He can't
That's a good
afford
question,
to
though.
be anything else.
Do you think Indy is? We never really touched on that. Is he like a well-established archaeology? Well, I guess he must be if he's famous enough for Brody to bring these army guys to him. He obviously knows his stuff, but in academia,
the army guys
is
weren't
he like
no?
What?
No, the government guys came only because he was the closest link to Abner Ravenwood, which was my question for you guys. So why do you think, I mean, do we only have one person on the planet who knows about the Ark and the occult and his student? They didn't actually want Indiana Jones. They wanted Abner, and they're like, oh, this guy must have his address, maybe his phone number or something. So they could look him up.
Maybe
so
his
he's not
daughter's
that
phone
famous.
number.
Yeah, or his daughter's phone number.
Well, he does make it sound like Abner is the guy about the Ark. And Indy is his student, so I guess, they might be the two guys.
It's kind of a niche right there. That's
is.
pretty small.
Yeah.
How famous could you possibly be on that?
Well, that's kind of how, that's kind of how academia works. You got to write your PhD on something.
Yeah, always looking for
It's true.
Grant. I like though thinking.
Always looking for Grant.
Yeah, I like thinking Indy was going to come back with that idol, and he'd hold it up and be like, "Marcus got the Grant."
Exactly.
Cash this thing in. Well, okay, that's the tail end of the Army intelligence exposition scene. And then we cut to Indy's house, which I kind of love. It reminds me a lot of my neighbor across the street when I was growing up. Their house was appointed almost exactly the same way as Indy's. Like, not exactly the same way. Like, his is very cluttered and messy and stuff, but it's got like the same, like they just had a lot of like kind of wood art and things and sculptures and carvings and things. And that's what this ours reminds me of.
Yeah, I think this house is fantastic, and as someone who lives in the Bay Area, I'm excited because it's also in San. Apparently, they filmed the exterior of the home in San Rafael, and I'll try to get a picture and put it up on the website.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, when I saw his house, I thought, okay, here's a question beat on my sister. Is that the house? We should say you're a professor at
I am.
William and Mary. So
Thank you.
professor of, yes, there we go. We didn't
You're not
even-
just in roller skates and pigtails and Jer's sister. You're
No. Well, I am. And yet that doesn't seem germane right now.
Is that house professorial?
It's
Is
a
that
very
what it's
professorial
like?
house.
Does your house look like that?
No, I wouldn't say so. No. But it is a very professorial house, especially in 1936, when you could buy a whole lot of house for not too much money, I think. So my question about the house then was, what the heck room was that? Because it's
Yeah.
right off the entranceway. Oh, maybe y'all had that question then.
do it.
And why is he keeping his shirts in the front room? What's
Yeah.
the matter with him?
And why are all the priceless looted artifacts right there next to the front door?
And with an open window.
Yeah.
Who leaves priceless artifacts with an open window?
Well, the neighborhood kids aren't going to recognize priceless artifacts. They're,
They
They're
weren't
looking for
priceless back
radios
then.
and-
They were just old.
And
they've appreciated
stolen.
since then.
Yeah, I feel like eBay ruined all that.
I've got a
That's
question.
right.
I've got a question. When he first walks into the house, is that his one of his leather jackets hanging on the hook? And
I
No.
think that's his school jacket that he was wearing earlier.
okay.
I think that's his members only jacket.
From 1936/81.
Yes.
Well, you're talking
And I
about
think
the house.
the barometer's there is because you need to know what the pressure is for all those artifacts.
All right. He's got one of those seismograph things too.
Really?
No.
Seismograph? Oh,
Whatever the thing is in the
Right.
museum.
right.
This will all be edited out.
Well, see, what I liked is they show the exterior of the house, and they show it's the first time you hear the indie theme, but it's played on, I guess it's a woodwind. I know Pete, you think maybe a clarinet,
Mhm.
and it's the indie theme, but it's not all, triumphal. It's kind of, more like a wondering sort of thing, like, hey, what's,
Yeah.
something might happen. And then there's these ethereal strings behind it. And you're like, again, we were talking in the Star Wars Minutes, guys were saying, this might be John Williams', best minute
Yeah.
here. And you hear the, the fanfare theme, but it's kind of not fanfare-y.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very nice touch.
Yeah.
Why did they think it was the best minute?
Not the best man.
Or
They
the
think
best
that this
John-
might be his
best,
best
uh,
movie.
His best score.
His best movie. Oh.
Yeah,
And
his
Harrison
best score.
Ford's too.
Subtlety and nuance then.
Yeah.
Right.
Um,
That's good.
One of my best friends growing up was named Mark, and I started calling him Marcus because of this movie. and I would always be like, "Oh, Marcus," quoting Indiana Jones here. Oh, I have to bring up. This is going to be controversial. We were talking last week, maybe the week before, it was last week, about there was a cut scene from the movie where he's on his way from his classroom with Marcus to meet the Army intelligence guys, and he runs into a female student, and she's like, "Oh, I thought we were going to meet in your office, Dr. Jones." And it reads in the screenplay kind of flirty, but it doesn't read flirty at all on the screen. He's just kind of like flustered, like, "Oh yeah, we actually have to talk about your homework." That's in the novelization that I have. That student is in his house just having cocktails or whatever
Are you
when
kidding?
Marcus shows up. No.
Yeah,
Really?
Yeah.
she was in the bedroom, and apparently Spielberg wanted Indy to be kind of a James Bond kind of playboy, and George
for
Lucas
crying out loud.
didn't want to buy into that.
Yeah, I'm really glad they didn't go that way because that would not have.
Well, maybe
that would
maybe
that
if
would
it
be
was
some
Tom
tonal
Selleck,
dissonance. Tom Selleck would have pulled it off.
Yeah.
But Indy, like Harrison Ford,
Oy.
like he's, we've talked about him being a jerk. He beats up Satipo and stuff, and he's kind of a rough dude. But he's also like, especially in these professor scenes, there's something very kind of aw shucks about him, and kind of like, oh, I got lots of maps in my arms, and I'm all kind of flustered and stuff. Like that wouldn't read right at all. Like him, like just hanging out with a student and stuff in his robe.
No, that would be stupid.
Like Bruce Wayne.
In his no, that'd be stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
How is that controversial?
Uh,
Everybody knows that's stupid.
Yeah, no, it's only maybe controversial was the wrong word. Funny and stupid. That's what I meant.
There you
Provocative.
go.
Yeah. Although, well, I won't say it. I'll save it for the next minute. Yeah.
Well, there's a huge thing at the end of this minute, which is, as you said, Tommy. How did you put it with him being? How would you say about where the arc's going to go?
Then Marcus makes a big assumption.
Yeah, and he says,
yes.
quote, "The museum gets the arc when we're finished." Which I'm sitting there and I'm like, are they joking? Like the arc is going to be like, they get the ark, and we just established, like, no, the actual ark of the 10 Commandments that Moses brought down from, and you're like, yeah, and it's going to be at like 4th floor, like Sacramento State,
Right. Well, no, it'll have like a
geology library.
It'll have a velvet rope around it. It'll be okay.
But see, I like
that's right.
when Indy says that, he says it's almost like he's saying museum in air quotes, because then Brody's like, oh, yes. Like he says very like, sure, the museum.
Yeah.
It's like they're in on it, but we're not. Well, it makes you wonder. You're like, so the Ark of the Covenant was going to be housed at, just like a college campus.
At Marshall College, yeah.
Yeah. It's just going to be
Marshall
housed
College.
at, and imagine the high school seniors' essays. Oh, why would you like to come to Marshall College? Well, you house the Ark of the Covenant.
Well, it wouldn't only be about, displaying it. Like they would probably study it and have scholars from all over the world come and check it out and touch it and turn to dust and go blind and,
It would make great pranks too, wouldn't it? Like you could, be like the men's cheerleading squad, and you could have like, great rival with whoever Marshall College rival would be, and you could take your megaphone and then you could like really get, prank and put it up on the dean's house roof or something.
They're never going to get that Ark down.
Me and Moose put the
That's
ark on
right.
the dean's house.
Stupid
Something like that,
Radcliffe only
yeah,
has the golden calf.
Well, and you wonder, it's like, so and somebody would be yelling, now this year the football team's going to be undefeated.
Yeah, right.
Hey, like, yeah, that's exactly Shishak's mistake, isn't it now?
See?
He was known for his football team.
Yeah.
Not anymore, he's not.
True.
Meh. Well, does anyone have anything else for minute 21? Or should we...
one last thing I've got. One thing, Christy, we have been talking about so far is we've sort of got the idea that maybe the Indiana Jones movies are the fever dream Han Solo is having while he's encased in carbonite. And this may
Uh,
be our piece of evidence number 12 in this minute.
Oh, where?
When Brody says they want you to get a hold of the Ark before the Nazis do, and they're prepared to pay handsomely for it, which sort of reminds me of Luke telling Han he rescues the princess.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Interesting. It's always about the money.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think
I
it's a
just don't
dream?
think
You're
so.
not subscribing to that?
No, a feverish frozen carbonite dream. No,
Yeah.
no, I really don't see that. Perhaps I'm just lacking in imagination
We d-
over there, but no.
We just
I
need
don't
to
think
share with
so.
you the rest
Yeah,
of our evidence.
We'll give you the rest of our list, and we'll see how you.
Yeah.
Well, okay, then I'll
You'll
be
see the light.
tremendously convinced. Right. All the other 11 pieces of no, it's a terrible idea. No. Rejected. Wholesale.
Well, on that note, you stew on that, and we'll mail you the evidence we have, and then in the meantime, Pete, how can all these people get in touch with us and find out more about this and other controversies?
Check us out on Facebook and check us out at indianajonesminute.com. And if you want to complain about people's lack of faith in our Star Wars theory, go to the William and Mary faculty page.
Right? That's not right.
Well, you eggheads. Yeah, please inundate William and Mary with emails about the Ark of the Covenant and Han Solo. And then please join us back here tomorrow for minute 22 of Raiders of the Lost Ark here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Indiana Jones Minute.
Oh, Marcus!